Well, this is a tough question to ask, but we have to. Could the U.S. be facing a new Cuban Missile crisis? After President Trump said within the next 6 months the U.S. will abandon the 1987 nuclear treaty where both the U.S. and Russia had agreed to ban intermediate-range nukes, Russian President Vladimir Putin issued this warning late yesterday. If the U.S. does that, if it places missiles in Europe, go ahead, make Russia's day. Russia has the edge in a first-strike attack against America. Do we believe Putin? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is the man who helped craft with Ronald Reagan at the Defense Department that original 1987 missile deal, former Assistant Secretary of Defense under Reagan, Larry Korb. Good to have you, Dr. Korb. Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
Larry, the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis was sparked when the U.S. deployed missiles to Turkey, and then in response, Moscow sent missiles to Cuba, where they could reach our shores within minutes. It was this dramatic face-off. Now Putin says he's ready to do it again. How did we get here?
Well, what happened was that Putin, cheated on the INF treaty, the one you talked about, that President Reagan and Gorbachev did. So President Trump, in my view, overreacted by getting out of it. What he should have done is begin negotiating, because they have claimed that we violated it, too, by putting anti-missile systems in Poland and Romania. And the other thing, Putin offered to extend what we call the New START, which deals with these missiles from Russia that can reach the United States, the intercontinental missiles, for 5 years, and Trump has not done that. I think what he should do is say, OK, I'll extend it for 5 years, and you cut out this. And the other thing is, Europeans are not going to let us put them in there. We had a heck of a time back, and I had responsibility for that, to get them to accept them on their shores.
Larry, things are different now. You have Ukraine, which is under the thumb right now of a very worrisome situation. We obviously know that a couple of years ago, Russia snapped off the Crimea Peninsula, and nobody did anything about it. And that was under President Obama. And now the U.S. has traded some missile systems and put them, at least with the help of, for Ukraine. And things are very different than they were back then, are they not? So do we believe Vladimir Putin, or is this just saber-rattling?
Well, I think it's saber-rattling, because if you look at the speech, this was only a small part of it. It's kind of his State of the Union, and the Union over there is terrible. His popularity ratings have gone way down. They went up after he went into Crimea, but they've gone way down. The population is declining. People are upset because he's done away with some of the pension system. And as I mentioned, he can already do that. He doesn't need to put missiles in Europe. He has the capability to launch them from Moscow and the other places where they have them.
Well, all with these sanctions that have been slapped on Russia over the past couple of years, we now know that Russia's economy has definitely floundered, and that's in part why he's so unpopular. But there's one very interesting area where Russia's rushing ahead, and that would be soybeans. The Russian soybean exports to China, they stepped in when the U.S. soybeans were, I guess, embargoed. You had that situation where they slapped their own retaliatory tariffs in China on U.S. soybeans. So what and how does that influence U.S.-Russia relations when it comes to even agriculture?
Well, but it does give Putin some breathing room with the sanctions. It makes it harder for them to have the impact. But as you mentioned, they're already having the impact. That, plus the low oil prices, and President Trump not wanting to get our allies in Europe to buy Russian natural gas. So those are already having an impact. And since you mentioned China, the next round of arms controls got to bring China in. China, back when we made the agreements with the Soviet Union or Russia, they were not a big nuclear power. They are becoming thing. And one of the reasons the Russians violated this treaty is they're concerned China has thousands of these intermediate nuclear weapons.
Well, when he threatens Cuban Missile Crisis, those of us who grew up in elementary schools in the 70s remember getting under the table and worried that would be the end. So that's why we take these things slightly seriously.
Well, we should take them seriously, but we need to open negotiations and work not just on the intermediate, but the intercontinental.
Larry, thank you very much for joining us.